foot
When
in
I
the
was
door.
15 or 16 or 20, I never thought I would be a Bollywood actress. Never. You know, as actors, we are like race cars. We have to have the ability to go from 0 to 100 in 1 second or in 2 seconds, right? And then wait it out for 10 hours. What you do in that time is important. That's what will define you going forward. So just work on yourself. So when I went to the counselor, I remember she said, well, you can just pick. And I was like, but that's not what I'm able to do. I can't pick. And she's like, you have to. But I didn't pick. There's so much to do. Be a lifelong student, and not just of whatever it is that you are doing.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chat Masala. This time we have with us Ms. Charu Shankar. She's an actor, dancer, and choreographer, an alumna of Modern School, Bharakamba Road. Charu holds a master's degree in English from LSR, Delhi University. While in college, she began her dance training at the Dance Works and was part of the Rapidfire company from 2002 to 2005. Charu has played many significant roles in films, web series, and short films, and remains actively involved in theater, both performing and teaching. She is best known for her leading roles in Mehrunissa, in Epic Channel's flagship show, Siyaasat, and has been widely praised for her portrayal of Indira Gandhi in Sony Liv's award-winning web series, Rocket Boys. Her performance in the movie Animal has been well appreciated. With a passion for women's health and a certification in pre- and postnatal fitness, Charu is now working towards creating a program for holistic care and support for young urban mothers and fathers. She lives in Delhi with her husband, 8-year-old son, and their newly adopted dog. Charu, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Lovely. I think there's so many lessons you can share that are so relevant to high school and young people today. If you can start with, how did your journey begin when you were completing high school and getting off into college? What was on your mind? How were you making decisions?
Oh my God. I don't think I was making many decisions. I was the most confused teenager, pre-teenager. In my 20s, I was very confused. Mostly because I loved studying and I was good at it. And I thought that, oh, here's a career path. And then I also loved being on stage and acting and dancing and singing and writing and I seemed to be good at that too. And back in the 1990s, Rahul, it was considered different. I was studying sciences, so you were a science student and you were supposed to be a very serious science student. And otherwise you were an art student, and which I was not. But here I was interested in all the arts, including history. I mean, it was just fun for me to be involved in the arts, but I was a science student. So there was this huge, even my teachers didn't know what to do with me. They were as confused as I was. So when I went to the counselor, I remember she said, well, you can just pick. And I was like, but that's not what I'm able to do. I can't pick. And she's like, you have to. But I didn't pick. I got into LSR and I did English. I chose to do English honors, which actually turned out to be a much more complex and difficult course than I imagined it would be. And went on to do my master's, and at the same time just kept doing what I liked doing, which was being on stage and creating works of art. And and then life just sort of took off. But I was very confused. That I must tell you, very confused.
Was there a way you kept in touch with science in college and during your master's program?
No, not in college. Yeah, when I was doing my master's, NDTV had started its first studio in Delhi. And it was very close to LSR. So we all went there for internships. And they chose me to do their fitness program. So I anchored their fitness show, and Reebok at this time was looking around for somebody to be their global instructor. And they saw my shows and they called me in, and I got the job. And I represented India as part of the global conference. They were creating some programs with Cirque du Soleil. When I went there, they decided to hire me for a longer contract. And then they said, well, you have to study. And so I went back to studying exercise physiology and exercise sciences, and completed a certification in ACE. and which involved everything that I loved, anatomy, and all of that were part of my subjects there. And so I went back to the sciences really, and then have remained in touch with women's health, which has become my focus now.
Lovely. Any guidance you have for you? I mean, it seems like all these opportunities sprouted out, but I'm sure you have to work hard to make them happen. What can young people do to put themselves out there so that such opportunities and life can unfold in their favor?
I don't know. I think that there are a lot of opportunities that do come by. My advice to everybody would be say yes. Say yes. Don't overthink it. Don't be like, oh, I don't know, this seems too small, or this doesn't fit into my perfect plan, which I had in my head. Believe me, none of the perfect plans that I made for myself when I was 14 or 15 or 18 or 20 or 25 have worked out in quite the perfect path that I had. And I'm a planner, I sit and I make like little 5-year plans for myself. None of them have quite worked out that way, but all of them have somehow found fruition in some form or the other. So it's been a bit of a confused soup of things that I've been involved in, but somehow it's all come together.
Got it. So, I mean, I think most people would assume that life is this perfectly planned kind of roadmap, and you have to execute certain tasks at certain times. But you're saying be a little more open and just say yes, especially in the early part of your career, and see how things unfold.
Yes, I think so. Be adventurous in that way. Just take the plunge and see where it leads you.
And what were some of those adventures that you took that turned out very well?
Turned out well? Let me think. But I think Bollywood would be one for sure.
What was the
when I was 15 or 16 or 20, I never thought I would be a Bollywood actress. Never. It was absolutely not in any plan.
What did you have in mind when you were in high school? What was that perfect plan, and how was it shattered?
Well, I think my perfect plan was to be a documentary filmmaker, which is something that wildlife documentary filmmaker, to be exact, because I loved animals, and I thought Jane Goodall was amazing, and that's the path I wanted to follow. Of course, I'm not a documentary filmmaker.
Well, we can start that now. Yes,
but I love wildlife, and after I got married, I actually ended up living on a farm that bordered the Asola sanctuary for 10 years. And so there was wildlife right at our doorstep, which I got to observe beautifully. And the filmmaker part, well, NDTV used to encourage us to do everything. So even though I was technically hired as an anchor, but I was also writing my scripts. I was also sitting at the edit table sometimes, putting the show together, getting things sorted. I learned camera work. I learned just on the job. You pick this stuff up. So in a way, I kind of think of myself as a little bit of a filmmaker. Not quite, but sort of.
Got it.
So I think
the other lesson that's coming out is maybe your prescribed role is X, but like just get involved in a bunch of different things because you don't know what is going to click.
Yes. And I think that also keeps you just more alive. Be a lifelong student, I mean, if you want to be in the arts specifically, that's important.
I think it extends beyond. I think it extends to any industry. I mean, if you look at Nobel Prize winning scientists, I mean, they have the same childlike joy of discovery at the end of their careers as they did in the beginning. So I think that's definitely something. What were some of the formative experiences in Bollywood, and what were some of the lessons you extracted from working with different filmmakers and actors? I hope you're enjoying this episode of Chat Masala. Before we move on with this insightful conversation, please be sure to subscribe and follow us so we can continue expanding our minds together.
Where do I start? Well, one of my I'll talk about my favorite filmmakers first. One of my favorite filmmakers is Mira Nair. I've been very blessed to work with her very closely. I don't know how I just got selected for her film Reluctant Fundamentalist. And I ended up on the set. There was Rizwan Ahmed and there was Shabana Azmi and Om Puri Saab and so many amazing actors. And, you know, I was very young. I had not had that much experience and there I was. And then there was Mira Nair, giant, famous personality. And of course, I was nervous. And what I learned from Mira is to shoot the story with absolute kindness and absolute empathy for all characters and all actors, because it's such a difficult job to be on the set. You know, set is a difficult place. The film sets it's very hot. You know, you have to do the same thing again and again. You know, the camera may be at a different angle. You have to remember what you did the previous time, even though it was shot 10 hours ago. You have to repeat exactly the same thing. There might be somebody helping you with continuity, but really mostly you have to also remember. So it's tough. And Mira was just somebody who was very kind, and it's one of those indescribable qualities which I haven't seen in many filmmakers. People have asked me if was it because she's a woman filmmaker. I don't know. I'm not sure if that sort of. I have also worked with other women filmmakers who've been different, so I don't think it's that. It's a human thing. So kindness, especially when you're the leader of the ship. Is a very important attribute, I think. What else? I want to speak about Ram Madhvani here, and I had the good fortune of working with him on a show called Arya with Sushmita Sen, and wow, what a different experience it was. So he has developed this beautiful technique of filmmaking called 360 degrees, where they do not say action or the usual cut, or, you know, they're shooting close-ups and there's nothing. It's such an interesting technique. It's you shoot it like theater. So they would light up a room and they would just show the actors the room and they say, now you enact the scene here, and you're free to move anywhere, and you don't know where the cameras are. The cameras are also free to move anywhere and capture you at whatever point they can. Yeah, it's very interesting. And I was like, you know, this is crazy. Like, how are we going to do this? How are you ever going to bring it all together on the edit table? And he said, no, but when there is truth, it will come together. And he had such belief in this. And I was absolutely shocked. I have never shot like this. You know, mostly it's a very precise art. When you're in front of the camera, it's a very precise art. So we were all like quite surprised, and Sushmita had already done one season with him, so she was all like, yeah, it works and it's great and don't worry. And I was like, oh my god, kya ho raha? But I think what I learned from Ram Madhvani, apart from many, many things, is to trust the process and to trust your actors. Again, this is not something that's common in Bollywood, yet he was out there trusting that the truth would come through. In his story, he had so much faith in his own story that he knew that there is a kernel of truth over there, and my actors will bring it out and my camera will catch it. I don't know of anybody else who shoots like this, but he shot an entire show, and this is an Emmy award-winning show. So
amazing. Yeah. So you talked about how you found yourself in these situations where you were nervous. Yes. How do you have a technique, or how do you kind of collect yourself in those moments where you have to deliver? There's an entire crew. Yeah. It's hot. Everyone is waiting for lunch, and you need to deliver your lines. Everyone experiences those butterflies. Yeah. What do you do in those moments? Feel it. I definitely give myself 5 minutes to just go through the, oh my God, it's okay. You know, it's happening. And of course, I'm, oh my God, when I'm, you know, standing in front of Anil Kapoor, you know, obviously my first reaction was starstruck and the rest of it. I think this is where knowing your craft comes in. And I think that this is specifically a problem with Bombay. There are a lot of people who want to be actors, but they have not worked on their craft. And you cannot rely on anything but your craft when you are
in a situation like this. I was chatting with Rashmika Mandana about the craft of acting. And she said something very interesting. She said that, as actors, we are like race cars. We have to have the ability to go from 0 to 100 in 1 second or in 2 seconds, right? And then wait it out for 10 hours. And then again, they say action and we're 0 to 100, so whatever that emotion is, you're there. So we're not like normal cars that are like, trudging along. No, we're race cars. So that, even if that is something that perhaps you're born with, you're gifted, but you have to hone that craft. Even race cars need their servicing. So,
how do you do that? How do you continue to refine that craft?
Just be a lifelong student. Never approach any project with, I can do this. Or, I did that, and I won an award for that. So yeah, sure, isme kya problem hai? No, just be a lifelong student. Every work opportunity is an opportunity for growth. So when you approach it like that and you learn something from everyone and from every experience.
I think this is a huge lesson for me, because I think sometimes you can get caught in the template. Like, I've done this 100 times, and you kind of go into some level of autopilot. What I'm hearing from you is you should never get into that mode. Like, you can always do something better. You can always do something more precisely, more artistically, faster, whatever the metric may be.
And it's natural to go into autopilot. Like sometimes I've felt this. Like, sometimes I'd watch my work on the screen, and the camera never lies, unfortunately. So I'm watching my work on the screen and I'm like, this is exactly what I did, like, in another thing. And, and I know that I've gone into autopilot over there. So, but then at least like recognize it and then consciously work towards achieving something different. So that's something that I strive towards. So it's natural to go into autopilot, no? Like, you do get comfortable with, your strengths. It's comfortable to be in that zone of, this is my strength.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think even with your strength, what I'm hearing from you is the best are also thinking about, okay, how do I push that envelope even more? Or how do I bring new insights? One thing we really share among the team as well as with students is, how can you seek insights from a different industry altogether, right? So you may be a computer scientist. Can you study aesthetics? Yeah. And like the philosophy of aesthetics and intertwine that into the products you're building? Can you study literature? Yeah. And integrate that into a video game you hope to be building. So this kind of interdisciplinary learning is a great source of growth for us. And
I'm a big fan of interdisciplinary. Big fan.
Got it.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference, and I think that it is the only way to go forward. And if you're not doing that, then you can also get very stuck in a mold. Even if you're in the creative field, you need to go into disciplinary. I mean, I know that, as even now as actors, you have to know the mechanics and just the basic science of filmmaking. Otherwise, you'd be quite lost.
Understood. Last question on this topic. For a young person, especially a young woman who wants to enter the performing arts, maybe Bollywood, what advice would you give them if they're starting off, they're in college?
I'll tell you the best piece of advice that I ever got, which was from an amazing actor called Adil Hussain. And Adil told me that just work on your craft, work on yourself, because when you are ready, the work will appear. And that it's just stuck with me. And I have, over the last many years now, been living with this philosophy. Because you can get very bogged down, by it's the nature of the industry. When there's work, you're so busy, you have no time to breathe, and when there's no work, there's no work. It's like there's just nothing. What do you do at that time? Or when you're on the set, when you're required on the set, you're 0 to 100, but when you're not required on the set, you're waiting. What you do in that time is important. that's what will define you going forward. So just work on yourself.
Okay, so those waiting periods don't just sit and wait and say, okay, I'm hoping for...
Yeah, you don't have to wait for Godot, just go for it.
Got it. Okay, I think that's wonderful.
I hear a lot of actors actually complain about this, that, oh my God, it's so boring. We're on the set, we're sitting in the vanity, it's been 20 hours and we're still here.
God, okay.
But yes. So I used to also complain. And then I was doing a show with this beautiful actor, Deepika Amin, who's a wonderful actor. She does a lot of Marathi cinema as well now. And Deepika and I discovered that both of us love to sing. And so we would we were doing a historical show, so we would wear our costume and everything. And then we would go to either her vanity or my vanity, and we would sing for hours. And it became such a great time for me, because I, being a singer, was not getting time for riyaz because I was on the set. But here I am just belting out like our favorite songs. The waiting didn't seem so bad. I got my riyaz done, and we have become very fast friends. So, there's so many great things that happened because we just refused to get bogged down by all the waiting. It's just a story. I don't know what anyone would get from this, but I love the waiting periods now. I take books with me on the set. I actually have like a pile of books, and I'm like, by the time this film is done, I'm going to read all of them. These are the shows I want to watch. I don't have the time to watch it. I'm going to watch all of them. So make it work for you. Right. I've like written entire programs and entire SOPs for, the other work that I do while I'm in the vanity. I learned Urdu during one of the shows. Yeah. Enroll in a course. There's so much to do. Be a lifelong student, and not just of whatever it is that you are doing. So expand your horizons, because you never know how the dots connect.
Yeah. Got it. Moving to your second initiative. In addition to acting, you work with young mothers and fathers, and I've been the beneficiary of that. I think it was such a challenging time for us, and I think it was wonderful to have someone guiding us. What inspired that initiative, and how did you get it off the ground?
Well, my own experience of being a very confused young mother inspired that initiative. So when I had my son, I just didn't know what to do. I had this beautiful baby, and I did not know how to comfort him. I did not know how to do anything, And I wished at that time that there was a program like this that I could have, or someone I could have spoken to, other than my friends and my mother and mother-in-law and so forth, like a kind of an expert who could have sort of guided me. And so when I created these programs for young mothers and dads, it's really all built out of experience. So it's by mothers for mothers.
Got it. And what I know. Soon, I think a lot of our viewers will find themselves in this position. Yeah. What can, I don't know how to ask this question, but what can people do to prepare themselves to be the best parents they can be?
Very difficult question to answer. I don't know. I don't think you really can, right? I think the kids teach you how to be parents. You can't really teach yourself. They teach you everything. You have to learn. There's no alternative.
So I think it goes back to your previous point. You have to be a lifelong learner and just keep picking things up and be responsive and be present.
Absolutely.
A lot of young people are feeling really overwhelmed, and they're really struggling with psychological and physical well-being, not eating right, sleeping right. I know wellness is something that you advise a lot of young people on. What would be your guidance for a young person who's really feeling lost and stressed and anxious? Are there specific techniques and activities that have really helped you?
So two things really helped me. The first one was embracing discipline. specifically when it came to my dance training, because that's where, I had joined the dance works, and we had some excellent teachers, and they required discipline of us. You had to complete that many number of hours of training and all of that. And so that the physical exhaustion of the discipline, and also just having that structure to an otherwise rather unstructured life helped me tremendously. And so I would say that if you are feeling like how I feel very often, even now, that there's a storm of ideas inside my heart, and there's just, you're possessed with ideas, or, you're go. Having discipline in your life, whether it is the discipline of a workout, or the discipline of cooking your breakfast, or the discipline of whatever, writing those morning pages every day, whatever it is that you choose as your discipline, just do it. There is really magic in that kind of repetition.
And it can be anything. It can be physical. It can be journaling, meditation.
Yes.
Got it. That's so interesting, because we don't associate the arts with discipline. We on the contrary. But what you're saying is, and this goes back to your previous point about constantly practicing your craft. Like having that system is what enables the creativity.
Yes, it does. And I'm saying this, but not something that I always do. This is finding your discipline and keeping at it is one of the toughest things anybody can do, whether or not they're artists. But I cannot deny that it has its serious advantages. Yeah. And one of the best advantages, just keeping you on track and keeping you sane.
Understood. Okay. I think that's great advice for all of us.
The second one. Yeah. The second one was finding purpose. Mm-hmm. And it's changed, over the years for me. So what gave me a sense of purpose when I was a teenager is different from what gave me a sense of purpose when I was in my 20s and 30s, is entirely different now that I have my son.
What would you say is your purpose, or multiple purposes now?
Yeah, I think my life with him has given me tremendous purpose and tremendous focus.
Well, one thing I do want to talk about is having a son. What is one thing young Indian men today should keep in mind, right? Like, I think there's been all this talk about masculinity and and what is good, what is not. There are these culture wars. I would love to hear your perspective on that. What values do you instill in Agastya?
Well, I think I'm bringing up Agastya hoping to change the world one dude at a time. Like this is the dude I'm going to be putting out there into the world. I feel like, in our generation, and perhaps even in my mother's generation, but definitely in our generation, all the women were brought up with this sense of like, you can do anything a man can do, you can, but somebody forgot to tell the guys this. Somebody forgot to tell the boys, hey, you can also do everything that a woman can do. You can also, comfort your baby. And this becomes even more prominent, really, when you have two partners who are otherwise equal in every which way, and then there's a baby, and suddenly, I've never changed diapers. Oh, I'm disgusted by this, or what nonsense? It's your baby too. So I feel like somewhere someone forgot to tell the guys that, hey, you can also do everything that a woman can do. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're equal in that way. So I think that would be my advice to the guys. You can take care of yourself, and you can take care of another human being too. It's totally possible, even if you're not a woman.
Noted. So, thank you so much, Charu. Some quick rapid fires. If you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh my God. Have a list? Living or dead? Oh my God, Moni. Yeah, I would love that. I mean, wow, definitely.
Absolutely. I remember seeing the water lilies.
Me too.
Oh God.
I know.
I understand. What's the most enjoyable part about working with young parents?
Working with young parents has given me a tremendous sense of purpose. now. Because it's such a turning point in anybody's life, and they're navigating a complete uncharted, unknown territory. And so I almost giggle now, when they tell me that, oh, we have it all planned out. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And this is what's going to happen. Then I'm going to go back to work and this is what's going to happen. And I'm like, so I think my biggest challenge and my biggest joy is to tell them, be open to uncertainty, let this pan out and, make your plans as you go along. Yeah, I think that's been the most challenging and the most fun.
I can't tell you all the changes I've experienced in the past 3 months. I was one of those everything.
Yeah, I got it planned out.
But one thing that has changed for me in the past 3 months is this immense gratitude. You realize how delicate life is, and we make all these plans, and sometimes you just have to stop and be so grateful for what's in our life. So
I agree. That's so beautiful.
Thank you. You have so many mediums you work in: dance, acting, music, teaching.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one, what would it be?
I can't.
You can't choose.
It's not possible. I tried choosing, it did not work. I gave up long ago. That ship has sailed.
Noted. Excellence is blank.
Excellence is always just a little unreachable.
But we should keep striving.
You keep trying. You keep striving for it, but it's like the horizon, right? Like you can't. Yeah, excellence is the horizon. Horizon.
Okay.
Poetry. Wow.
What's one value you hold dear?
I think over the years I have learned to be very calm in difficult situations, and I think that is something that I would definitely like to.
How have you learned? Because I think a lot of us want to learn that.
No, when everything around me starts going crazy, then I've learned it's just better to instead of diving into that craziness and flapping around, just step back and become really quiet and listen to my own thoughts.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's definitely, because, life does present you with all kinds of difficult situations. It could be work, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be, your subject. I mean, I remember one day, like I was studying for the ACE exam, and मुझे समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था. Like, I mean, I was just thinking, I don't understand this. I think it was a very specific calculation for. It was a formula that calculates the amount of oxygen you have in your blood when you're exercising, and there was a formula to determine that. And I just was not able. And I tried and I was getting very flustered, and I could see that because I knew that they would definitely 100% ask this in my exam. But I became quiet. I thought about it, and then I thought of, okay, who do I go to? Who can teach me this? How do I test this out on an actual person? How can I? So yeah, I think when you step back and you become calm, the solution will also present itself. Mm-hmm. But when you're in it and you're sort of struggling and going, you will achieve nothing, and you will perhaps miss the solutions that it will invariably come your way.
Got it. So just like, freeze, be still, maybe take a step back.
Yeah.
Got it.
Be calm. Don't be part of the chaos.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Don't be part of the chaos.
Yeah.
Lovely. And last question, what's one change you'd love to see in the world in 10 years? I
think we need to be kinder to our planet. It really upsets me so much when I see just piles of garbage and just the oceans and what we're doing to animals and other species, insects. microbes. I feel that we need to be, as a life form, as a species, we need to be kinder to other life forms and other species.
That sounds like a documentary.
I need
a wildlife documentary.
Finally.
I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Charu, thank you so much for sharing all your insights with us.
Thank you.